with the public.
Okay, so
Should we close the door?
Yes.
thank you.
Sorry, that was the last one.
Okay, Thomas, do we have everybody in?
Yes.
Okay, call to order this meeting of the Montara Water and Sanitary District Board. It is October 16th, 2025 at 7:31 p.m. Could we have a roll call, please?
Director Sofsky,
Here.
Director Slater Carter,
Present.
Director Boyd,
Here.
Director Young,
Present.
Director Champion.
Here.
All right, thank you. All right, well, first up on the agenda is President's statement. So I've got a few words. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We're a local public agency, the only governing elected board in this part of the coastside. And just want to mention that our staff works really hard to deliver reliable, high quality water and effective sewer services for the coastside. And our funding is the funding that you provide. It's your funding, and everything we do is paid from bill payments from you, the people we serve. The board works to help the agency conduct its business, and we meet as needed, typically once or twice a month, to help facilitate the business of the district. And I'd like to specifically welcome our newest board member, Leah. Thank you for jumping in to serve and serving the community. And as you have already found, there's a lot of complexity in the infrastructure and the regulations and the public finance. And thank you very much for stepping up.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
We'll see how long, but no, thank you, very seriously. As we move into tonight's agenda, I'd like to touch on two critical aspects of California public agency work. The first is the California Public Records Act makes existing district records available to members of the public that request them. Staff fulfills these requests by making digital copies and providing them on flash drives. And then the requesters are responsible for picking up those records here at the MWSD office and then reimbursing the district for the $5 cost of the flash drive. Also, every meeting provides opportunity for the public to address the board and the district staff. And district staff are sometimes able to respond to comments. However, given that several Seal Cove property owners have filed claims against the district, the board will receive public comment, but will not be responding to related questions or statements. And with that, let's move to oral comments. And I'm looking for comments for items that are not on the agenda or only on the closed session agenda. So I see several hands. I'm going to start with members of the public. Andrew Boston.
Hi guys, sorry about the video quality. I'll just cut it. Actually, Wi-Fi is weak here. Still Andrew Boston and Seal Cove. I've searched your public records and website and can't find any documentation showing when and how MWSD decided to start labeling certain streets and laterals as private shared laterals. Could someone please point me to the exact record, or better yet, the official map that defines which properties fall under this so-called private system? If no such or map or resolution exists on the website, then the policy likely has no legal standing, and ratepayers deserve to know when and how this change was made, and to have something they can include in disclosure packets when selling their homes. If it's a real policy, it should be quite easy to find. And if it's that private, then maybe it shouldn't be called public infrastructure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's now go to Lana Witt.
Good evening. So we still have an active sewer leak on our street in Seal Cove. Starting Friday, it will be the beginning of the 4th week of this active sewer leak. Right now, the sewage is not bubbling up into the street, but it's going somewhere in our infrastructure, probably into the groundwater. It has not been fixed. the property owner had three additional plumbing companies come out this week. They have not been able to identify the problem. They don't have the equipment to figure out what is broken or obstructed or whatever. So it's a real problem when you have stepped away from your responsibility. Like Andrew, I've put in a written request for your minutes of your discussion. How did you come about to decide certain homes were now excluded from SAM and MWSD sewer services? Which homes? What's the basis for choosing which homes are excluded? It's just not clear to us homeowners. I'm not sure. I assume since I'm next door to the sewage leak that I'm excluded, but I've never been notified. I'd like to know how you made that decision. What's the scientific or technical basis for making that decision? And I'm assuming some of us are excluded, but not everybody. But I don't know that for a fact. I'm glad, President, you mentioned your duties. Last week, I reiterated the mission, vision, and values statement on your website, which I hope that all of you will take to heart, to provide good quality wastewater treatment, to be open with the public, to be entrusted with these responsibilities. And I think for the acute issue, someone needs to give us guidance. We're not getting anywhere with fixing this leak. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, I had three hands in the boardroom. We're just going to go around. Bill?
This is definitely not on the agenda, but it's something I've been thinking about for several months because it's in some sense on all of our agendas. It was a great privilege over the last year or so to be at the water conference in Monterey and also separately the Special Districts Association conference, because I, at the first one, among other things, got to see the city manager of Paradise describe what it's like when 2/3 of your city vanishes. That's kind of a scary thing to happen. But that's the kind of a thing which could happen here in both fire domain and the storm domain and the landslide domain and a lot of domains. We live literally on the edge. And I personally spend a lot more time worrying about how this room is going to prepare for the 1,000-year storm than about how this room is going to go shuffling through file cabinets making lawyers happy. And so when you're looking at large natural disaster scale things, the most informative was at the Special Districts meeting about 6 months ago, when one of the guys who organized it talked about, I think it's the San Luis Obispo County fire shed. They have serious, serious wildfires down there, and wildfires do not respect administrative boundaries. So over the course of a dozen years, they put together an administrative monstrosity with 32 different districts represented at the table, all the way down to environmentalists elbowing cattle ranchers, because fire respects none of their disciplines, and the idea was to respect the laws of nature first and foremost. What can we as governments do to make sure we have as little damage from fire as possible and keep people as safe as possible? It's very much like ours, and it was a kind of a consolidation. But I don't think it was a consolidation of administration. It was a consolidation of recognition of the natural forces at hand and how to deal with it. So if we apply the principle of administrative consolidation in the way they did it for fire. If we try to apply that principle here to respect the laws of nature, we will not be trying to pump sewage, raw sewage sideways for 10 miles across 3 different watersheds. We will do what we did 50 years ago and treat things as locally as possible, because that's the way you keep everyone safe. So now that I've learned from the big boys what you do with big things, the concept of consolidation is merely a fiat where different people report to different people is utter nonsense. The two things so that's how you do solve a problem. You actually talk about reality and you get the administrative and legalistic finery out of the way. How you don't solve a property is focusing on legalisms and which jurisdiction had which and which precedent is in which contract according to which. No, only lawyers get paid for that. it doesn't get anywhere. The other thing is next door. The concept that any problem will be solved by lobbing text interactions at people. There's a reason I'm not on Nextdoor. No one can solve anything. You can cover local stuff, which is good, and about notifications of things. But the idea that anything short of a real 3D interaction with human voices is going to solve deep problems like this is another kind of legalistic fantasy. It's the fantasy that words we choose are going to make up for the laws of nature we haven't paid attention to.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Catherine?
Yes, on October 25th. So not this weekend, but the next weekend, which is a Saturday. From 2 to 5, there is going to be a trunk or treat. Activity, gathering, fun time at the harbor. This is where people decorate their cars in Halloween type themes. And then, you can bring your kids and decorate your car, or just bring your kids, or just decorate your car. Lots of choices. And it's from 2 until 5. There will be trick or treats. There will be lots of fun games and fun things to do. And I was just talking to a friend in Massachusetts today, and she said, "Oh yeah, we do that. We do those by neighborhoods, or we do it by other things," so that it's sort of evolved into a just a fun time for kids. So October 25th, 2 to 5 in the afternoon. Please join us.
Okay, thank you. Sid?
Had a couple things to announce. Some of them are past things, but there may be some people online that don't know. Last week, the county funded Cypress Point for $5.5 million. Cypress Point is the affordable housing complex up on Carlos Street in Moss Beach, and they said it was going to be 76 units, but at the MCC meeting, Steve Monowitz said no, it is 71 units. They must have misrepresented their math at the county supervisors meeting when they said it. Then this Tuesday, the Board of Supervisors removed the sheriff. That's been a long time coming. And the acting under Sheriff Dan Perea is the sheriff for now. They have 30 days to either appoint a new sheriff or have a special election. And then next Tuesday, they will vote to make Carlos Street, this is also the Board of Supervisors, no parking on behalf of Mid-Penn, because the fire department won't permit Mid-Penn because of ingress and egress on Carlos Street. It's way too narrow, and it's holding up the entire process for their buildings. And they're going to keep it two-way traffic, however, but they are not going to allow parking on Carlos Street. They're going to have to get the Board of Supervisors to approve it so they can put up signage and ask for a CDP. And then Ray Mueller is going to be holding a Caltrans meeting out of his office on the 27th. His office is located at 270 Capistrano Road in Harbor Village, and that's from 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. And I believe, what day is that?
Sorry, what day?
27th.
The 27th.
I don't know if
It's
that's
a Monday, the 27th.
is it the Monday? Thank you. I didn't write that down, but people at the MCC said they were, oh, we don't, that's during the middle of the day, blah, blah, blah. But he said that was the only time he could get, and he'd be willing to cancel the meeting if nobody wanted to do it. But that was the only time he could get. So it's on. And it's going to be Zoom as well as in person. But I suggest people go because this has to do with all the concerns about the harbor parking lot and the Highway 1 dual bike lanes right at Surfers Beach, etc. And it might have to do, I don't know if they're gonna talk about the Highway 1 Moss Beach corridor, which won't be done till 2030, but of course they're gonna start building Cypress Point way before that. So I think that's a concern to a lot of us. So those are my upcoming things. And I just want to say to the neighbors of Seal Cove, I feel really bad. I don't have any information for you, but I am concerned that we're not being notified that why this decision was made to cut people off and not provide sewage maintenance on certain streets. Looks like maybe the tail end of all the streets that near Ocean Boulevard. So I feel really sad about it because I do live in the neighborhood, but I have sewage on connections on my street. So it's too bad. We did lift the emergency that they say on our agenda tonight. So I'm not sure what they're gonna discuss in closed session because I'm not allowed to attend, but you know, I feel bad and I wish I could tell you more. Sorry. That's
Okay.
it.
All right, thank you, Sid.
Sure.
With that, we are ending the public portion of this meeting. We're going to take a brief recess and then we'll reconvene in closed session for 2 items. One will be conference with legal counsel, existing litigation in the case of City of Half Moon Bay versus Granada and Montara. And the second, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D of Government Code 54956.9, 12 potential cases, Seal Cove emergency. If we take any action, we'll report that out after closed session. With that, thank you everyone for joining. We are now in recess.
Sorry, excuse me, President Boyd.
Yes, Christine.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to make a brief statement regarding item 2 on the closed session agenda to discuss the claims filed against the district related to the Seal Cove area. Director Young has previously disclosed potential disqualifying financial conflict of interest under the Political Reform Act due to her residence being located within the restrictions imposed under the real property rule. Accordingly, she has elected to recuse herself and will not participate in or be present for this closed session discussion. The decision, she will leave the meeting prior to the board's consideration, which will be reflected in the minutes.
Christine, we lifted the emergency, so is this still related to the water emergency that was declared and lifted? The 12 lawsuits, or is this about the sewer things?
It's
The
everything.
12 lawsuits.
Yep, the claims cover everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
That clarified a little bit.
Okay, so now we're in recess. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. I'll leave when the time comes.